Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in! Hunt Palmer coming to you from Mercedes-Benz at Baton Rouge Studio downtown in the capital city on this Monday. It means we're brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products. Hope your work week is off to a good start. I got a feeling it is, as the Tigers are headed to Omaha for the 20th time. We are talking about Jacob Beck. Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos. We'll chat with Koki Riley in 30 minutes. Usually Koki's with us on Wednesdays. He's traveling on Wednesday. Good day to get him on, talk about the weekend that was, so we'll do that at the bottom of the hour. There's one more super regional matchup to go. We will certainly preview it. I want to talk about the other 6 that have completed. Are the Saints interested in a perennial Pro Bowler? We'll talk about that in the bottom of hour number 2. Plenty to do. Let's kickstart things the way we do every day. Our Genesis opening drive.
It's time for Hunt's opening drive, presented by Genesis of Baton Rouge.
A successful weekend for LSU baseball. I don't know if on Friday I could have forecasted exactly what that looked like. To an extent, we did. We talked about some things that certainly shone through. West Virginia's bullpen really struggled. West Virginia's defense really struggled. But LSU's aces weren't on top of their game. And the offense really just carried the weekend with a little bit of help from West Virginia. And ultimately, LSU got out of the Super Regional with a fairly stress-free pair of victories. You win the game back on Saturday by a final score of 16-9. You scored a total of 16 runs in the 4th, 5th, and 6th innings to completely put things out of reach. And then on Sunday, after a lengthy delay, that was very fitting, I guess, for this LSU baseball season, you come out and hang 6 early on. It looked like the champagne was on ice. And then West Virginia hung around. They were tough. They were scrappy. I don't think they were very good, but they were tough. They were scrappy. They tried to hang on. And then ultimately LSU was just too much, and the dam broke in the 7th inning. I thought ultimately this Super Regional came to its head with one decision that Steve Saban's made on Saturday. And I thought it was because of the work that LSU had done over the course of 3.5 months. The Tigers led 3-1 in the game on Saturday. Cade Anderson was going along pretty nicely, and LSU got the 3 runs in the 4th inning. And ultimately, the decision was made to take Griffin Kern out of the ballgame. He had worked 4 innings. Steve Saban's talked about this after the game on Saturday, said he had pitched twice last weekend. It was hot. We didn't like his command. The velocity was down a couple miles per hour. We just thought he was out of gas. He used that exact term, out of gas. And at that point, Steve Saban's in a 3-1 game in the 5th inning looked at his pitching staff and said, we cannot win this game. We have to save all of our pitchers for the next 2 games. Because Cade Anderson's rolling, and we're already down 2 runs, and we're not going to go to our guys that have been our guys all year. The guys that have been his guys all year are Chase Meyer and Reese Bassinger. They're the guys we saw yesterday. He didn't do that. He went to J.J. Glasscock, who has thrown 6 innings all year. And J.J. Glasscock immediately walked the first 2 guys he saw on 9 pitches. He threw 8 balls and 1 strike. He was lifted from the game, bang, home run, and the floodgates opened. LSU scores 7 runs in the 5th. Cole Furman was next after Glasscock. Again, another guy that LSU, that West Virginia has not gone to really all year. 6 2/3 pitched on the season. He didn't get an out. Home run, walk, hit by pitch, he's out. And Steve Saban's waved a white flag on Saturday in a 2-run game because Cade Anderson has been that dominant all year. Now, he wasn't, because West Virginia came back and they scored 9 runs in the game. Let me paint you this picture. You saw Chase Meyer come in the game last night. He goes 4 innings and gave up 1 earned run. If instead of waving a white flag and basically forfeiting a 3-1 game in the 5th inning on Saturday, if he goes to Chase Meyer and gets that exact outing, West Virginia might win that game. I think he made a brutally bad decision on Saturday, and I think it cost him the rest of the weekend. West Virginia's staff was tired, apparently sick. The word is that Jack Kartsanis was sick, and that's why he couldn't throw on Saturday, and he was worked really hard on Sunday. But you look at that West Virginia staff, and they've just been overworked. And you saw that manifest itself when the bullpen came in 2 games. And LSU in 2 games scored 15 runs that reached base via the free pass, whether that was a walk, a hit by pitch, or an error. There was a ton of charity by this West Virginia team, and LSU capitalized on it at every turn. We spoke about this on Saturday, that West Virginia generally relies on stringing hits together and manufacturing runs. They don't hit a lot of home runs. And you saw them push across that first run on Saturday in the 2nd inning by getting a couple of hits and then bunting the runner over and then getting the fly ball. And like, they're just manufacturing, and they get 1. And LSU hits 2 grand slams and a 3-run homer. That's 11 runs on 3 swings for LSU using power and some help from a West Virginia staff that was not in the strike zone. But I thought it was a very balanced offensive effort from LSU. Derek Curiel obviously was sensational. He was not retired on Saturday. Then he comes back in the leadoff spot on Sunday and pumps a double into the gap to get things started, scored the first run of the game. He was 4 for 7 with 3 walks for the weekend. That's 7 times reaching base in 2 games. Stephen Milam remains sizzling hot. This guy hit 200 in league play. He comes out in the regional, was great. Comes out in the super, reached base 7 times. 3 for 7, 4 walks, and the big swing that got the box rocking on Sunday night. The bases were loaded, and Buzz and I were talking about this with Chris Blair on the broadcast. We're going, okay, you've got a pitcher in Kartsanis that is not in the strike zone. He's struggling with command. He's spraying the ball everywhere. He's struggling to throw a breaking ball. Just sit on a fastball that's over the heart of the plate and do damage. And he got the count to 2-0, and he got a ball up and on the inner third, and he just ripped it down the line. That thing must have left the bat at 110 miles an hour. It was sizzling down the line. The first baseman couldn't even get his glove up in time to get there. Milam struggled all year, really, and he said that yesterday after the game, like, I didn't have the year to help my teammates as much as I wanted to. But he's doing it now. He did it in the postseason in Chapel Hill. He did it in 2 weeks at the box, got on base 7 times over the weekend. Jared Jones was 4 for 8 on the weekend with a walk. Luis Hernandez scored 3 times. Chris Stanfield had 3 walks, 4 RBIs, and a big hit. That was a massive play in the game because it felt like on Sunday that LSU jumped out to that lead and you're like, okay, it's 6-0. You're going to put this thing on ice. No big deal. Ianson's on the mound. He struck out the first 4 guys he sees. He's cruising. No worries at all. Well, then West Virginia hits the 2 home runs off of Ianson, who had only given up 4 all year entering that game. He gives up 2 in 1 inning in the 4th. Then you give up a run in the 5th when he lost his command a little bit, and it's 6-4. And LSU's offense is not doing a lot against Meyer, and it just kind of feels like there's a little bit of malaise, and now Ianson's out of the game, and like you're going to the bullpen, and that's kind of the question mark of the team, and like this could get a little bit hairy. But you get some help because Meyer ran out of gas, and he put 3 guys on base. And then one of the coolest moments of the entire Super Regional, Mississippi State. Why did I say that? West Virginia goes to the bullpen for Reese Bassinger. That's kind of their guy. He's a 3/4 sinker ball guy out of the bullpen. And you can very clearly see, based on context clues, that Jay Johnson gave Chris Stanfield a plan. They were going to shift 3 defenders to the left side of second base, vacate the entire right side. They're going to pitch you away. That's what Bassinger does. Hit the ball the other way, drive it through. And Chris Stanfield got a 1-0 pitch and pumped it on the ground into right field, and on the way to first base, he is pointing at Jay Johnson, and Jay Johnson, who is generally pretty reserved in the dugout during games, came 20 feet out of the dugout, pointing at Stanfield and pumping his fist. Like, they very clearly had an exact plan of what to do in that at-bat, and Stanfield executed it to perfection. That brings in 2 runs, keeps the merry-go-round going, and LSU delivers the knockout blow. It was awesome stuff, and it was a really contribution from just about everybody. Brown comes up a little bit later and hits a titanic home run off the batter's eye in center. He drove in 4 runs on the weekend. Josh Pearson drove in 4 runs on the grand slam on Saturday. LSU's offense, as really it has done most of the season at Alex Box Stadium, really carried the day. I thought they hit the ball hard. I thought they executed offensively. I did think West Virginia had a bad pitching staff, and that's not going to be the case on Saturday when you play Arkansas in Charles Schwab Field. You're going to have to be a lot better than you were this weekend. But this weekend, against a bad staff, against a tired staff, in a ballpark that you feel very comfortable playing offense in, I thought LSU carried itself on the offensive side of things. 16 runs on Saturday, 12 runs on Sunday, and that's going to be an offense that feels a lot of confidence when they take the field in Omaha. Zach Root's really good. That's who you're going to see on Saturday. We think it's going to be Saturday night, but today is not about Saturday. Today is about what LSU did over the weekend. Winning 2 weekends at home is not easy. And you saw just team after team after team get beat, whether it's Texas going out on the second day of the tournament, whether it's North Carolina winning 18-2 on Friday and then come back and losing 2 games to Arizona, whether it's Auburn getting beat in extra innings by Coastal Carolina, getting swept off its own field, whether it's Georgia blowing a lead in the regional. Like, teams are dangerous this time of year, and just about everybody in the country is pretty susceptible to a bad weekend. I don't see a juggernaut out there, and LSU hasn't been a juggernaut, but in that stadium, they just haven't lost. And this is one of 2 teams joining the 2018 team that have not lost a weekend at home in the entirety of the regular and postseason. LSU never lost a home weekend this year at the Box. 2018 they did it. This year they did it. Every other team stumbled, and this team did not. They deserve a ton of credit. And for LSU as a program, that is now 20 trips to Omaha in 40 years. 20 trips in 40 years. Half the time LSU is getting to the College World Series. We take it for granted a little bit, and I understand that there's an incredible amount of passion, and that's great. But sometimes you need to just pause for a brief second and go, that's pretty awesome. And what LSU did offensively over the last 2 days was pretty awesome. And for LSU to put itself in position over the course of 55 games in the SEC tournament to play at home, you knew that you were going to get that home field advantage. You knew your offense was going to be able to play in that ballpark. You knew the crowd was going to be there to pick you up. And you knew that you were going to face a team that's down the bracket a little bit. You got a good draw in the regional, took care of your business. You got a good draw in the super. Clemson goes down. West Virginia comes in here. Not a great team. You take care of them, and now you're headed up to Omaha to go try to fight for an 8th national championship in program history. Great weekend for LSU, especially on the offensive side. There are things we need to talk about as far as the pitching goes. Is there an issue with Cade Anderson and Anthony Ianson? What about Chase Shores? Cooper Williams was fantastic. Cowan and Evans didn't pitch. I want to talk about the pitching side. Insurance Group. It is storm season. Those are inevitable in this part of the world. And when those storms show up, that's not the time to look on the radar and turn on the web. By that point, they're going to have a moratorium on new coverage. You're not going to be able to change things. Right now is the time to evaluate your property insurance to make sure that you're prepared for a storm. Whether that's building valuations, whether that's making sure that you're not going to pay co-insurance penalties, whether that's business interruption limits, wind and hail deductibles, named storm deductibles, whatever the case may be, make sure it's all right. Jonathan Carpenter's team at the Highland Insurance Group, they specialize in that. They're experts when it comes to policy form. They're going to make sure that your premium is fair. They're going to shop your coverage with all the markets that they've got at their disposal as an independent broker. But the most important thing is making sure your coverage is properly done. And that's what they're going to do at the Highland Insurance Group. Check them out online at highlandig.com. Highland
And age is just a number. Anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for the with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products.
Huge shout out to the folks at GoFlow IV Spa. They're going to be bringing you our coverage from Omaha, Nebraska. I am leaving on a jet plane Thursday. I'll be headed up there, so I'll be out on Thursday's show, but I will be broadcasting from the Ameristar in Council Bluff, Iowa on Friday. Very much looking forward to that. I'll also have a pregame show on Saturday. We'll get the first pitch time, and then we'll set all those details up as the week moves forward. But if you were making the trip up to Omaha, looking for a place to stay, potentially you can check in on the Ameristar. And if you'd like to come see us on Friday and or Saturday, they've got a great sports book there in the Ameristar, great casino, and fantastic dining options as well. Very much looking forward to hanging out there. As long as LSU hangs around, I'll be there. So shout out to the folks at GoFlow IV Spa. We'll be telling you more about them as the week moves on. And I'll be up at the Ameristar in Council Bluffs, Iowa, just across the river from Charles Schwab Stadium, but it's only like 5 miles. So it's going to be an awesome time. Very much looking forward to it. LSU's two aces were not at their best over the weekend. Cade Anderson gutted through 7 innings in the sweltering South Louisiana heat. Gave up 9 hits and 7 runs, 6 earned. I wrote a column about this on LouisianaSports.net on Sunday morning because it struck me. He was very noticeably agitated in the post-game presser. Like, LSU had just won a super regional game by 7 runs. He had just pitched 7 innings, and he was just ticked off. And I asked him a question. I said, you started 10 games at the box this year, and LSU went 10-0 in those games. What does that mean to you? And he basically dismissed it and was like, yeah, great team, can trust those guys, awesome, and just kind of groused and sat back in his chair. Like, he was not happy at all with his performance. And look, it wasn't his best work, but he did everything LSU needed him to do. He ate up 7 innings. He struck out 7. Yes, he gave up 6 earned runs. That was a season high that he had allowed. But at one point, the score was 10-1 when he was out there. And he was sitting on the bench for like 47 minutes at one point while LSU rallied. Just hard to stay in a rhythm like that. The good news is, for me, like, the velocity was up the entire time. I didn't think his command completely suffered. I mean, 2 walks is not the end of the world in 7 innings. He took that comebacker off the arm. I thought that might be a huge issue. It didn't turn out to be much of an issue at all. I thought West Virginia battled. I thought they did a really good job of plate discipline. They didn't extend very much. They took a lot of pitches, and they battled and battled and battled. And for Anderson to battle right back and to get you through 7 innings, I thought was a good thing. Yeah, he gave up a lot of hits. There was some hard contact. I get it. That's going to happen. I don't think it's any cause for sounding the alarm. I think that Cade Anderson did a nice job on Saturday. Same thing goes for Ianson. You know, on Saturday, the first hitter of the game, is it Guzman? Yeah, Guzman battled Anderson, like wouldn't strike out. And Steve Sabins, after the game, said that he thought that was kind of a tone setter for the game on Saturday. On Sunday, quite the opposite. Ianson comes out and literally strikes out the first 4 guys he faces on basically the same pitch, that slider that bounced. Luis Hernandez had to throw down to first base all 4 times on those strikeouts. And I'm looking at that going, man, he's locked in, like he's going to be dominant. And the second time through the lineup, West Virginia just started to see it a little bit better. And I thought the first home run he gave up was on a pretty good pitch. I know y'all get tired of me saying that when guys, I said it with Zach Cowan in College Station, like, give him a home run, it's not a good pitch. Well, that's results driven. I'm talking about process driven here, and you have to throw it over the plate. You can't throw it 6 feet outside. Yeah, you can't hit it, but you're going to walk everybody. Like, you have to throw strikes. And Ianson threw a ball that was down, and I just thought it was a really good swing to drive it out of the ballpark. The second home run was on a breaking ball that just sat in the honey hole. I mean, that was just a bad pitch. And Ianson just hasn't done that very much. I mentioned this. He had given up 4 home runs all season and gave up 2 in 1 inning. He gave up 3 earned runs in May, all of May. And he gave up 4 earned runs in the game on Saturday. So it wasn't his best effort, but again, the velocity was good. I'm not concerned with the workload for these guys. You could make the case, and I don't know how Ianson felt. I don't know what the testing results said. I'm not sure about any of that stuff. I just know that sometimes when guys pitch twice in a weekend as starters, the next weekend is not as good. You can go right up to Knoxville, Fayetteville over the weekend, and Liam Doyle closed out the regional on Monday, 2 1/3 innings, running all over the place like a crazy man, just wild outing. And then he comes back out in game 2 and just didn't have it. He didn't have his command. He got knocked around by Arkansas. He didn't last very long. Tony Vitello looked at him and said, that's not him. You got to come out. I go back to 2021. Landon Marceau was LSU's ace that year, and the Tigers got into the loser's bracket immediately in that Eugene regional, but they battled all the way back to Monday, got a lead late on Monday, and they brought Landon Marceau in to close that game in Eugene to win the regional on Monday. They went to Knoxville the next week for the Super. It was Paul Maneri's last weekend. They threw Mikhail Hilliard in the first game, but they threw Landon Marceau in the second game, and he just didn't have his stuff. I don't know that that's the case with Anthony Ianson, even though he pitched twice last week, because I felt like the velocity was pretty good, and he did throw some great breaking balls. West Virginia just did a really good job with their approach after that. And I don't think there's cause for immense concern. Do I wish LSU's 2 guys would have pitched better over the weekend? Yes. Do I realize that 2 weeks ago, against inferior competition, mind you, but against Little Rock and Dallas Baptist, they threw 15 1/3 shutout? I mean, that's not that distant in the past. So that's still the backbone of LSU's team. And it's good that LSU was able, without those 2 guys just absolutely shoving, we're able to go win 2 games against a super regional team and a conference champion in West Virginia. The bullpen is kind of what I want to talk about after that, though, because Chase Shores yesterday looked like a difference maker. He looked like a difference maker. He didn't have any command in the regional on that Sunday. He came in against Little Rock. He walked 4 guys. He was awful. But he had command on Sunday night. And what you see when he throws strikes is 100 miles an hour. And West Virginia just simply was not prepared for that. They could not catch up. And then it was a little bit unfair that against Salvi, with 1 out in the ninth, he dropped that hammer of a slider on him and froze him for strike 3. LSU is not going to be able to get through Omaha with Cade Anderson, Anthony Ianson, and Kason Evans throwing every pitch. They can't get through Omaha with those three guys throwing 95% of the pitches. You're going to have 3 or 4 guys step forward to get this done in Omaha. And one of them, unequivocally, must be Chase Shores. And what you saw from him last night, with a slider located for strike 3 on the outside corner, called strike 3. A fastball challenging folks over the plate at 100. That is difference-making stuff from Chase Shores. You'll hear me bring these names up for the next week and a half. Nate Ackenhausen, Javen Coleman. You're talking about guys who didn't have monster roles in the season that were then called on in the postseason and gave huge performances. Griffin Herring comes to mind. Will Helmers comes to mind. And Chase Shores is more talented than all those guys. And I dare say, not only does he need to step forward and be that guy in certain spots in Omaha, if he's not, LSU's probably coming home empty-handed. Because those outs after Ianson and Anderson have given everything they've got are incredibly vital, whether that's late in a close game or to start the next game in, say, a loser's bracket situation. Those outs are vital to keeping a season alive. And what we saw in the regional from Chase Shores gives you a ton of pause. But you can't go make a trade at the trade deadline. You got who you got. And Chase Shores is a guy that LSU's going to have to trust. And the guy that faced 4 hitters last night and struck 3 of them out can be a difference maker in LSU's chance to go win a national championship or come home. I thought that was just great to watch last night. Cooper Williams, to a lesser extent, same type deal. I don't think Cooper Williams is ready right now to get the last 3 outs of a 1-run game in Omaha. But what I like about Cooper Williams is that he throws strikes. And he came in the game, and LSU just needed strikes because they had a big lead. And he came in, boom, strike, boom, strike, boom, strike. I ran the numbers on this for my Around the Horn column on LouisianaSports.net. But 8 of his first 9 pitches were for strikes. And I believe something in the neighborhood of 10 of his first 13 pitches were for strikes. I'll have to go back and look at that. But he was just hammering the zone. And when you're left-handed and you throw 91 miles an hour, that's kind of all you need. And because he was so consistent in the zone, he was able to get that swinging strikeout on the slider that was way away because it was tunneling like it was going to be a fastball in the outside corner. Williams' stuff is not what Evans is. It's not what Schmitz is. It's not what Anderson's is. It's not what Shores is. But it's deceptive, and it can get outs. And it did in a big way. Set down 6 in a row in the game last night as LSU was adding to its lead and essentially locked the game down. So I'd like to see Zach Cowan pitch in the 9th last night. I tweeted that out. I'd like to see him in a low-leverage spot, try to get some confidence. That didn't happen. Kason Evans didn't pitch this weekend. But the guys that you did throw out there did a really good job. It starts with Saturday when DJ Primo got the only guy he was brought in to get. Maverick Rizzi was great in his final inning of relief. Just 1 hit, struck out 1. And then Cooper Williams and Chase Shores last night combined to throw 4 innings, 1 hit, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts between those two. Huge stuff from Tiger bullpen arms that are not Zach Cowan, are not Kason Evans, but they're going to have to be big when LSU gets to Omaha this coming weekend. All right, let's keep things rolling with the baseball talk. We'll talk to Koki Riley coming up next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is the website. Every car that's on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. Whether it's the sedan all the way up to the SUV, the entry level, all the way up to the highest end model. All of these Genesis vehicles come with IHA top safety pick dominations. And a couple of them were top safety picks plus. one of the safest cars on the road. That's what Genesis promises to you. It's part of the experience of being a Genesis driver. Go by and see them, Airline at Pico across from Women's Hospital. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge. You can find them online at genesisofbatonrouge.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products.
Monday shows brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products. All your printing, scanning, copying needs, Gulf Coast Office Products, GCOPnet.com, GCOPnet.com. Koki Riley usually with us on Wednesdays. Wednesday going to be a travel day for the Advocate crew, so he's good enough to give us a little bit of time here on this Monday where we head off to Omaha, Nebraska. Koki, how are you, sir?
Doing all right. How's it going?
It's going quite well. Did you really need that one last rain delay last night to really just kind of cement this season?
Honestly, I didn't. This entire season, I've been very patient with these weather delays. I've given people the benefit of the doubt. I've understood the difficulty of the circumstances. I wrote a 1,000-word story on it. And then when we got to rain delay, whatever it is now, I think it's like 19 games have been actually affected by the weather, but they haven't all been rain delays. Sometimes the one last straw breaks the camel's back, and the camel's back broke yesterday. I'll just say that.
Who felt the brunt of that? Was it Rabelais that had to hear you complaining about it?
No, I think it was everybody that had to hear me complain about it. It was I was tired and it was a little, I don't know. It's just been a long season, but I guess that's a poetic way to end the the season at the box this year. I mean, if this weather like follows us to Nebraska, I don't know what I'm going to do. It would it's not going to be pretty.
We'll see. All right. A bigger story for you this weekend that the Bats really erupted and scored a ton of runs, or that LSU's starting pitching was not as dominant as we had come accustomed to.
I think it's like, for me, like, I don't think we should overreact to either. You know, I think, yes, LSU's offense did a better job of taking at bats, but if you look at the circumstances around this weekend where it didn't seem like anyone pitched well, and I think the weather had a factor to do with it. And I think West Virginia's two starters were either tired or sick heading into the game. I think West Virginia's coach said that Kirk Sonis was dealing with an illness, and he tried to give it a go last night, and he just wasn't himself. And you can kind of tell with just how bad his command was. And I mean, that combined with the West Virginia defense just continuing to shoot itself in the foot and opening up opportunities for a talented SEC team to capitalize on them. I think I don't know if like the offense is necessarily fixed, because of what happened this weekend when you combine, again, the weather, some of the circumstances around some individual starters with West Virginia, and the fact that, West Virginia's weakness is their bullpen depth and their defense, and we really saw that this weekend. So that's for the offensive side. Then on the pitching side, the weather also kind of applies to LSU's pitchers and their starters and getting hit around a little bit. And I both guys I thought started pretty strong, and then sort of faltered as the game sort of went along. And I think the weather probably had some sort of factor to do with it, because like it was hard to find a pitcher who actually threw the ball well. And I know Chase Meyer threw 4 shutout innings for West Virginia, but he got pretty lucky. I felt like LSU ripped some balls that went right to West Virginia fielders. They were getting guys on base. I thought that like the offensive process for LSU was actually much better. And I'm not going to say that there shouldn't be any concerns with the starters, or there should the offensive explosion for LSU was a total fluke. I'm not saying that, but like I don't know if we should be drawing like massive conclusions from 2 games on a very hot weekend at the box.
How much does Stephen Milam's offensive outburst help LSU?
I think it's massive. The fact that he's just seeing the ball well for the last 2 weekends now, it's absolutely huge for this team. It really changes the way you look at this lineup, changes the way you look at this team. And the guy just seems to be hitting everything hard now after having trouble hitting anything hard during all of SEC play. So if you look at the SEC numbers he had this year, it was stark how poor he was. 211 batting average, 295 on base percentage. Just not what you thought at all after he had a really good season last year, especially during the second half of SEC play. So him sort of turning things around, seeing the ball a lot better, just stinging balls. I think that would probably be a bigger takeaway for me than anything else I've seen over the last 2 weeks and from this past weekend.
What about Chase Shores last night?
7-run game, so you don't want to take too much from it. But I mean, if you're pumping 100 like that down the middle, it's going to be hard to hit. And I don't know if West Virginia was necessarily prepared for that. So again, he's a much different look than the guys that they had thrown so far in the regional. So it was very impressive. But like we've seen this from Chase literally within a game in that Little Rock game where he can look great for a couple batters, and then it can get really, really dicey if 1 or 2 things go wrong. So let's see. I think let's wait and see what happens in Omaha. And I mean, they're going to have to use him. They're going to have to use Zach Callan, who didn't even pitch this weekend. They're going to have to use Casey Evans. Like it's all hands on board in Omaha, as you know. So I think that first game is just going to be absolutely crucial in terms of how they set up their pitching for this first weekend.
DJ Primo was the first left-hander out of the pen. He pitched in the game on Saturday. But do you think that given the first high-leverage left-handed situation in Omaha, Cooper Williams may get that call now?
Yeah, I think it will be. I know DJ Primo, as you said, was the first guy to come in on Saturday, but like Primo to me is like he's like a purely a lefty specialist. Like they rarely have him pitch against righties. But with Williams, I feel like they're just a little bit more comfortable with him pitching against guys on both sides of the plate. And with Primo, it's a deception thing where he hides the ball pretty well, and I can imagine it being pretty tough for left-handers to pick that up. For Williams, it's less about deception, and it's more about the fact that like he's got multiple different pitches they can throw on both sides of the plate, and when he's locating it, it's kind of similar-ish to Cade Anderson when he's really rolling. Not saying he's Cade Anderson. Very few pitchers are. But that's sort of the effect that you're putting onto hitters, I guess, when he's really on. And I think you saw that last night, especially in that massive sixth inning where he comes in there and puts up a 0 after Anthony Eisen hits the leadoff batter. Like that was absolutely crucial in that game. And he was just he had pinpoint control and command, and that was very, very impressive to watch.
Yeah, he was throwing nothing but strikes. It was awesome to see. How good a shot do you think LSU has to win this whole thing?
If they win this first game, I think they're the favorite. If they don't win this first game, I have a lot of trouble seeing them winning 4 games in a row in 5 days. But again, like I know that sounds dramatic, but Arkansas is probably the most talented team in this tournament. And I think Jay even said that last night. So if you can win that first game, put Arkansas into a bit of a hole, put yourself on the front foot pitching wise, and yeah, you're probably gonna have to beat them. You're gonna have to beat them again, but you're gonna have 2 shots to beat them again. So that might make or break the tournament. I know it's so early, but that's just the way this bracket is sort of filled out, where the top 2 seeds of the tournament are going to be facing each other in the first round. But I don't want to like totally poo-poo like Duke or Duke, assuming if they win tonight, or any of the teams they could potentially face the final. But I really do feel like this LSU Arkansas game on what's probably going to be Saturday is going to be just absolutely like monstrous. Like that is a monster game. That's Zach Root versus Cade Anderson in all likelihood, and it's going to be huge. It's going to be absolutely huge. And I think if the wind's blowing in, that's probably advantage LSU, given some Cade Anderson struggles with home runs, and if the wind's blowing in, that's going to stop any home run from getting out of the park. And Anderson already looked pretty good in his last start against Arkansas, and Arkansas has more swing and miss than West Virginia had, so he's probably going to have more success getting those strikeouts. So, the pitching always improves in Omaha. It's how the park works. It's what happens in these big moments over there, and I think that's advantage. That is probably slight advantage LSU just in terms of the style of the way this game's going to be played, but Arkansas probably has more talent, so it's going to be a huge game.
I was doing post game last night when y'all. I believe you probably went down on the field. I didn't see you post game in the press conference. Did anything of note, kind of on the field, chatting with guys and sense of the emotions of what had happened?
Not a ton of stuff, honestly. But Casey Evans did talk about like warming up his body a little bit to potentially come into the game. But it sounded like, at least from him, that it never got close, even if he was ready to pitch if they needed him to. So, that's kind of what that was. But there wasn't a whole ton after that, just a lot of excitement. And there's like, I feel like with this team, it's more, there is like a slightly different vibe than 2 years ago where, like getting to Omaha, there's obviously the elation of getting to Omaha, but there's also kind of this feeling of like, the job's not done yet. Like we're one of the favorites to definitely win this thing. And for this team, they're younger, they're hungry, obviously, but I don't know, there's just it's hard to describe what it is, honestly. But there was a slightly different vibe with this year's team after they clinched their spot in Omaha. And if they do lose to Arkansas and they don't win this whole entire thing, I think this season is still a success. If you get to Omaha, the season is a success. To me, that's how we should view this program. If they don't get to Omaha, it's hard to view it as anything, it's hard to view it as a success. So I feel like they definitely accomplished that last night, and they definitely got a good draw to get there, and they didn't get a very good draw in the first game in Omaha, but that's just how these things sort of work, and it's just going to be really, really interesting to see how that first game shakes out.
Looking forward to getting up there. We'll see you in Omaha this weekend, Koki. Thanks, man.
Awesome. Thanks so much, hon.
Koki Riley, beat reporter for The Advocate, covering the LSU baseball team. Done an awesome job all season long. One last Alec Box rain delay for Koki and everyone that was in the press box last night. And LSU got it done, so they head to Omaha. Koki will head up there on Wednesday. I'm leaving on Thursday. I'll be broadcasting from the Ameristar on Friday. All right, when we come back, we'll close out hour number 1 next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. It's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products.
Monday show is brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products. All your printing, scanning, copying needs, Gulf Coast Office Products, GCOPnet.com, GCOPnet.com. This is a fairly worthless segment here in terms of like the actual hard-hitting content, because it's just a feeling. It's not necessarily anything concrete. Beck, I'll get your thoughts on this, but I was getting text messages during the Little Rock game on Monday that were really, really sour on the entire LSU baseball program. And at this point, now you fast forward 7 days, Monday to Monday. Like, you can't really find a dissenting opinion on LSU baseball as a program. Now Jay Johnson's been to Omaha 2 of his 4 years. Kind of give him a pass on the first one, taking over a complete transition roster with really no pitching. So you're looking at a team that's made Omaha 2 of the last 3 years and could potentially make a push. And this time last week, you could have said, well, if they lose tonight, he's only been to 1 super regional in 4 years. And it's funny how the entire prism of a program, this is just talking points. This has nothing to do with what's actually going on over there, which, by the way, I think is awesome. And I think it's one of the best programs in college baseball, if not the best program in college baseball. And I implicitly trust Jay Johnson to handle the program. I think he's going to do amazing things here. But just for average Joe talking point, like the difference 7 days can make in the perception of the program is a little bit wild.
Yeah, it's just, I talked about this before, but this is just what you go through with college baseball. And when you get to the tournament, this is what it is. You boil the season down to 5 or 6 games, and
really 5 or 6 innings at some point of a 65-game sample size.
Yes, and so when you lose to Arkansas Little Rock and you're 1 game away from losing a regional,
5-1,
and you're down 5-1 in the game you have to win, you're going to start thinking to yourself, how is LSU in this position? This is a horrible situation. LSU's about to get bounced in the regional by Arkansas Little Rock. Jay Johnson, it just, he had,
I gotta fire the coach text.
Yeah.
At 5-1. I gotta fire the coach text.
So yeah, it's just an insane way to do this college baseball. Just having it go like this, you're gonna have such giant swings of emotions and just feelings about the team. And so now after this weekend, and you're not gonna find somebody out there with the same thoughts.
We'll see, because statistically speaking, LSU's not going to win the College World Series. They certainly could. I would never rule that out. Obviously, they're one of the best teams in the country, and they're already there. But like statistically speaking, they'll lose 2 games up there. And I'm curious what the reaction to that will be if we get there. I guess it depends on how that goes.
Yeah.
But man, if they don't lose 2 games while they're up there, then we're really having a different conversation. We're talking about what could be in the future. My contention will be, I'm not going to judge the program as in terms of its health based on what happens over the course of like 4 days in Omaha. Whether they go and win it and sweep it or they go 2 and out. I'll still feel like you've got a guy who is consistently putting together rosters that improve over time and have played really good baseball in the postseason. I thought LSU played well in Hattiesburg his first year, just ran out of guys. I thought LSU obviously played great in 23, but I thought they played well in Chapel Hill last year, and Gage Jump needed to get 3 outs to get him out of there, and they just didn't quite get there. They found a couple holes. But, like, I just feel like LSU's program is incredibly healthy. I feel like LSU's program is in a position that's as strong as anybody in the country. I would put them. It's probably LSU, Tennessee, Arkansas. I mean, you probably throw Florida in there. That's probably the short list. After that, like, everybody else is kind of a step down, and that's sometimes you need to remove the emotion of the game that just ended and kind of step back. So before we get to all the drama that goes on in Omaha, to just sit back and go, look, no matter what happens while they're up there, like, this is a really good situation that LSU's in right now. You're gonna have to replace a lot of guys off this team. But we'll cross that bridge when this season ends. Right now, it's about going to chase a title. And LSU's trying to win number 8, and Arkansas is trying to win number 1. And the winner of the game on Saturday is going to be feeling like it is that time, because it's just human nature to look at the success and the talent level that LSU and Arkansas have had and then look across there and go, Murray State, Duke. We'll see. Those two teams will play later on this evening. Monday show is brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products. We'll come back after Sports Center, talk some more baseball. Also got some football that we'll get into as well. Stay with us. Monday edition, Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Whenever I talk to David, the thing he always mentions and what they do most often over at One Bath and Closets are tub to shower conversions. If you've got a tub that you just don't use, you don't take a bath, you don't have the 2 kiddos like I do at the house, I've got to take a bath every night at 6 o'clock, well, take the bathtub out. Put in an awesome walk-in shower. It changes the functionality of your bathroom, changes the aesthetic of your bathroom, add a little value to your home. You spend a lot of time in that bathroom. Make it a nice place to hang out. Tub to shower conversions. They're time efficient, they're cost effective, and they can transform your bathroom. Check out the pictures of their great work at onebathandclosets.com and request that free consultation with David and his team. That part doesn't cost you a cent. They're online at onebathandclosets.com. It's David Duvall and One Bath and Closets, onebathandclosets.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely on Mountain Cold Refreshment. Dave's back on. Coors Light. Choose chill.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. ESPN has learned Cavaliers guard Darius Garland will likely miss the start of the new NBA season in the fall. He had surgery today on his left big toe, a nagging injury that bothered him during the playoffs. The NBA Finals all even now. The Oklahoma City Thunder 18-2 after a loss this season. Thunder forward Jalen Williams says it's important to realize that it's now the Pacers' turn to fight back.
The biggest thing is understanding your opponent and where their heads are at and try and put yourself in their shoes. The good thing is now it's 0-0 for us, for sure. So you just got to kind of understand what kind of energy they're going to come out with and, you know, them being at home, them in the finals, what kind of like punch they're going to throw and be ready for that.
Jalen Williams, Game 3 of the Finals in Indianapolis Wednesday night on ESPN Radio and ABC. After 2 epic overtime games in Edmonton, the second one going double overtime, the Stanley Cup Final shifts to Florida tonight for Game 3. Panthers and Oilers tied at 1.
Your summer drink is here. Twisted Tea is a smooth, refreshing, hard iced tea with 5% alcohol, making it the perfect drink to take any day this summer to the next level. Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly.
Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products. All your printing, scanning, copying needs, Gulf Coast Office Products. No matter what vertical markets you are in, they've got clients that do what you do. And they know the needs that you've got from a printing, scanning, copying perspective. And they can help your bottom line by making sure you're working as efficiently as possible. So if you're in the market looking for some printing, scanning, copying equipment, Gulf Coast Office Products can help you out. GCOPnet.com, GCOPnet.com. All right, if you've been listening to me for the last 2, 3, 4 years, you know that I've got a belief that the West Coast in college baseball is falling apart. It's dying. That's been my belief. And I am very, very happy to sit here on this Monday and tell you, like, that's probably exaggerated. I don't know if you dropped Oregon State or Arizona or UCLA into the SEC, how they would fare over 30 games. I'm not sure. It doesn't really matter. What has happened, though, is that those 3 teams are going to Omaha. And they got there in different ways, but I'm glad they're there. I've maintained this. I've said, like, I think the West Coast is dying. I look at Thatcher Hurd and Gage Jump leaving UCLA to come to LSU. I look at Braden Montgomery leaving Stanford to come to Texas A&M. I look at Derek Curiel and Stephen Milam coming from the West to come play in the SEC. And I see instances of this all over the place in college baseball. You look at Gavin Grahovic, who didn't play much this year, but he was the SEC Freshman of the Year last year. He's a California guy. He plays for Texas A&M. And I just feel like those programs that were once very proud and very good are withering away. It was a huge part of college baseball. If you were following LSU in the 90s, you know what Fullerton was. You know what Long Beach State was. Certainly what Stanford has been over the course of a long time. UCLA has got a proud recent tradition. They've got a great coach. And I looked at a UCLA team last year that wasn't any good. Stanford was bad last year. Oregon State doesn't have a conference. Arizona is having to fly across the country, playing in the Big 12 now, the conference with West Virginia. And I'm like, this is just not going to work. Everybody is coming out of the SEC, and the SEC was playing in every single national final, just 2 SEC teams playing, and they were getting half the field in Omaha, and they swept the ACC last year in Omaha. And I'm going, this is not that interesting. It's compelling for 30 games when we watch it, but I want to see something else when you get to Charles Schwab Field, and I'm getting it this year. Big shout out to those teams from the West. Like, I don't have a dog in that hunt, honestly, but like, I was, and I tweeted this if you were following along on Saturday night, like, it just was awesome to me to see Florida State, huge national brand, Jamie Arnold on the mound, top 5 pick, playing against Oregon State up in Corvallis, and everybody up there is in sweatshirts, and it's just a very different vibe than everything going on in a 5-state radius in the Southeast. I'd like some variety, and you got it in that series over the weekend. And Arnold was phenomenal for Florida State. He goes 6 2/3 of one-run baseball, striking out 9, and Florida State won that game, but Oregon State punched back and won the other 2. And, I'm watching these games. Oregon State's still got dudes. They don't have a conference, but they got dudes. Abe Arquette is a first-round pick. Trent Caraway is a stud. I've followed along for 3 years to watch Gavin Turley be what he's become. They were in this regional 2 years ago when he was a freshman. I was like, this dude's going to be something. And he's now the all-time leader in Oregon State home runs. They were awesome. Throwing hard, getting a bunch of hits, and they bashed Florida State around the yard in that game 3. After Jamie Arnold held them to 1 on Saturday, they come back Sunday and hang 14 up in Corvallis. That was incredible. For Arizona to take it on the chin, 18-2 on Friday. That was the first Super game. I was on the air on this set, and I'm going, 1, I think North Carolina's really freaking good. Saw enough of those guys last year in the regional for 3 games to know they've got real dudes. And then they come out and they beat Arizona 18-2. But what you find out in these games is once it kind of slips away and it's 4, 5, 6 run lead, you just empty the bench, and the back end of your bullpen might give up 1,000. It brings you back to LSU in game 2 of the championship series against Florida. Well, not winning this one, and we're not going to bring Riley Cooper out there to pitch. We're not throwing Thatcher Hurd in this game. We're going to go ahead and give it to Sam Dutton and give it to Christian Little and let those guys throw. And Wyatt Langford and Jack Caglione were hitting baseballs 500 feet. I left. I was in the ballpark. Me and my dad were like, we're not watching this crap anymore. We left the 7th inning, went and got a steak down the street. It was great. Don't even know what the final score was. I couldn't tell you right now what the final score of that game was. Because you saved your guys. And Arizona clearly saved their guys. On Friday, they got annihilated, came back 1-2 at the Bosch to beat North Carolina. That was incredible theater to watch that. UCLA, they pitched it. I mean, pitched it. UTSA went to Austin and clearly was the best team on that field for 3 days. Clearly. They outclassed Texas. When you say UTSA, and I say UTSA out loud, that sounds like a 4 seed. Right? That sounds like Southeastern, sounds like Nichols, sounds like Northwestern State. They're a 2 seed. They beat Texas 3 times this year. Texas was 19-1 in the league at one point. It's a pretty good team. I don't know if they're going to win the national championship, but UCLA shut them down. Now, they did it wearing softball uniforms, and that's a story for another day. But UCLA pitched it phenomenally. And they're moving on to Omaha. And that's a program that, is going to play in a dumpy little facility, but has had dudes over the years. And they're heading to Omaha, and I think that's a really, really good thing. And then, obviously, we got to talk about the All-SEC Super, that all eyes were on that. And that's Arkansas, it's Tennessee, it's Vitello and Van Horn, it's Liam Doyle and Andrew Fisher, and a team that plays with a ton of swagger in Tennessee, and Arkansas matched them and more. Now, what Zach Root was doing on Saturday was over the line, in my opinion. And you're talking about a guy, me, I'm okay with bat flips. I'm okay with pitchers strutting after a strikeout. I'm okay with showing a little emotion and quote-unquote a little showmanship. That doesn't bother me. I don't know if you need to scream at the hitter in expletives and then run down the line and scream at him even more as you come off the field. What he did was more than I need on the field. That was really it was uncalled for. But it did indicate just how high the emotions were running. And I don't know what Arkansas is going to look like on Saturday. I don't know what they're going to look like on Monday in their second game, win or lose. I don't know if they're going to win the national championship or go 2-Q. But if they can bottle what they did over those 2 days against Tennessee, they're going to be a real problem for LSU on Saturday and then moving forward. I'm not anywhere close to picking that game on Saturday. We'll handle that from Omaha, from the Ameristar on Friday. I'll deal with that when the time comes. But I have consistently ranked Arkansas 1, 2, 3 in the SEC power rankings. Now, LSU's been up there as well, but I've also been on record saying that I think their best is better than everybody else's. And their best was on display this weekend. They lit Liam Doyle up. And then Tennessee went to the pen, and they lit them up. The Vols are an arm farm up there. They got a lot of guys that have gotten a lot of outs and have big-time pro prospects, and Arkansas didn't give a rip. They were hitting home runs off the glass door in right field. Hog Pen going nuts. Gage Wood throwing 97. Like, they were something. I picked Tennessee to win that Super in 3 games. They got outclassed. Hitting grand slams the opposite field. I mean, that was some real stuff by Arkansas. And I caught myself, like, watching that while LSU was in a delay going, God, this feels like it might be Arkansas's time. like that's, but we all know that weekend to weekend, even game to game, some things don't translate. And I've watched some of the best teams in college baseball go up there and just really struggle. Like, I'll bring two to an example. LSU in 2013 was as good as anybody in the country. Anybody in the country. There were 3 teams that year that kind of separated. It was Vanderbilt, LSU, and North Carolina. Vanderbilt got beat in their home regional, so they didn't make it to Omaha. And then LSU went 2-0. They just went up there. It was a different bat, but they didn't hit. Ibarra hit those 2 balls to the track. You lose a 2-1 game to UCLA. And then you come back the next day in North Carolina beats you and you go home. Oregon State was just a freight train in 2017. And for 2 days, they just didn't hit. Alex Lang, Zach Hess, Caleb Gilbert, night, back to Corvallis. Like, it happens to some teams, and it can happen to Arkansas. Certainly has. Dave Van Horn and Mike Martin can write a book about going up to Omaha with a damn good baseball team and coming back home with nothing. So what you did last weekend doesn't mean what's going to happen moving forward, but I can't imagine anybody feels much better about their team than what Arkansas feels right now as they head up there. So it's an interesting field to me. I'm excited to talk about it as the week moves forward. We'll see if you get a lot of intrigue, like Murray State showing up. By the way, like, if y'all seen what Murray State's done in the NCAA tournament offensively, like, they got Duke this afternoon in a winner move on, but like their NCAA tournament run production is remarkable. They opened with Ole Miss and scored 9. Then they played Georgia Tech and scored 13. They lost a game to Ole Miss where they scored 8. Then they played Ole Miss again and scored 12. They lost to Duke with 4 in the opener of the Super on Saturday, and then came back yesterday and hung 19. So you've got a 19, a 12, an 8, a 13, and a 9 for Murray State. And that's against Ole Miss and Duke, who are power programs. Like, they're an SEC and an ACC school. I'm not telling you their staff's as good as Vanderbilt's looked 3 weeks ago, but still, that's a lot of runs that Murray State's scoring. So maybe they jump in the field. You've got those 3 teams from the West Coast. There's only 2 SEC teams that are in. You look at Coastal, who's playing as well as anybody. They just went to Auburn and just punked Auburn for 2 days. Got an extra inning win in the wee hours of the morning on Friday into Saturday, and then slammed the door on Auburn the next day with incredible pitching performance from the Sun Belt Pitcher of the Year. So it's a diverse field. It's an interesting field to me. I'm excited about this. I think the field in 2023 was just loaded. There were pros everywhere with Caglione and Lauder and Skeens and Cruz and Wyatt Langford, and like, all those guys are already up in the big leagues. They were in 2024. So it was loaded from that perspective with dudes. This is just a diverse field that's a little bit more interesting. You could call it weaker. I wouldn't disagree with you. But I think it's healthy for the sport to have a different look than just, hey, here's the SEC tournament, move from Hoover up to Omaha. That's not what you have this year. And that part of it excites me. I think that's really cool. So I'm looking very much forward to diving into the bracket. I'll have a lot of coverage over on LouisianaSports.net this week, and I'll be heading up to Omaha come Thursday. Shout out to the folks at GoFlow IV Spa for making that happen, and I'll be at the Ameristar as long as LSU's there, and we'll be doing shows Friday, Saturday, Monday, assuming LSU doesn't play at 1. We'll be at the Ameristar doing my show whenever we have an opportunity to do that, and LSU doesn't have the 1 o'clock start. So if you're looking for something to do while you're up at Omaha, Ameristar is a pretty good spot to go. Incredible sports book, great casino floor, dining options, great spot. And there are some room availability this weekend. It's a little bit crowded, but you can find some space there, so go check that out online. The Ameristar in Council Bluffs, Iowa. All right, we'll take a time out. We'll come back with some more. We'll talk some football next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is the website. Every car that's on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. Whether you're in the market for a sedan, an SUV, it doesn't matter. They've got a vehicle that can fit your needs. And I can promise you whatever vehicle you pick is going to be one of the safest cars on the road. That's a promise I know I can make to you because every single model in the line, all of them, were IHA top safety picks. Some top safety picks plus. So no matter which one you get behind the wheel of, you'll know it's among the safest cars on the road. And that's obviously very, very important. Every single new purchase comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. That's a pretty good perk to grab. And 3 years of complimentary valet maintenance. That means they'll come get your vehicle, they'll handle the maintenance, bring it right back to you. You never miss a beat. It's all part of the experience of being a Genesis driver. Go by and see them, Airline at Pico, across from Women's Hospital. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge. You can find them online, GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. It's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products.
All right, Monday show is brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products. I'm going to talk a little bit about the New Orleans Saints. Ross Jackson got a piece up at LouisianaSports.net right now talking about the Saints potentially getting in the mix for Jaire Alexander. If you're going, wait a second, Jaire Alexander played for the Packers, right? Report from Ian Rappaport earlier today that the Packers set to release Jaire Alexander today. So does that make sense for the Saints? It's a weird spot. It's a weird spot. The Saints have some room to spend money at this point in the year. That never happens. The Saints never have salary cap space. They do, thanks to the retirement of Derek Carr. And they do kind of have a need at corner. You've got Alontae Taylor, fourth-year player. You've got Kool-Aid McKinstry moving into his second year, and you brought Isaac Yiadom back. But that's kind of where your cornerback room stops as far as proven assets. And so if you can get Jaire Alexander on a short-term deal with the money that you've got laying around, yeah, I'm all for it. Now, there is risk involved in taking Jaire Alexander. He hasn't played enough football in the last 3 years. You're talking about a guy who has missed significant time over the course of the last 3 seasons. And as you get older, that becomes a bigger problem. He's knocking on the door of 30, and he's playing about 7 games a year over the last 2 years. So this is not like the missing piece, but I'm all for bringing in talented veterans to help shepherd the younger players on this Saints roster with the contingent that you're not tying up significant money down the line. I don't know what the market is for Jaire Alexander. Clearly, Green Bay's decided they've had enough. So stands to reason it's not going to be just a feeding frenzy here. But if you've got $30 million laying around and you can sign Jaire Alexander on a 1-year deal with some performance-based incentives to make sure he's on the field, and he can come in and help Alontae Taylor and certainly help Kool-Aid McKinstry and help some of the young defensive backs. You add him to a veteran room that includes Tyrann Mathieu, that includes Justin Reed. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm not okay with a 3-year deal for a 30-year-old cornerback who has played 7 games a year the last 2 years. I am okay on a 1-year deal. There are no such thing as bad 1-year deals when you're talking about the Saints right now, because you're not tying up funds for the next great Saints team. That's a phraseology I use all the time, the next great Saints team. And the odds are Jaire Alexander's not going to be on the next great Saints team, but I do see value in adding veterans. And the Saints kicked the tires a little bit earlier in free agency on Asante Samuel. And I think the same thing stands true for here. You don't have to give anything up to get Alexander. This is not a deal where you're trading away draft picks or any assets of any kind. You've just got some extra money to spend. So I'm all for spending it. You're talking about a guy who is a 2-time Pro Bowler, who's a boundary corner, who would make your team a little bit better. And so signing a 28-year-old with $8 million that you're not spending anywhere else, if that's what the market says, like, I don't have any problem with that whatsoever. I do think the Saints need to address the position. I think you're too thin at this point with that group that I just went through. So this, to me, makes a lot of sense. I think the craziest thing as I was kind of prepping this segment and thinking about the way to approach it and whether or not I think it makes sense is I just kept looking at myself going, I can't believe we're talking about the fact that the Saints have a piggy bank with spare change in it. That never happens this time of year. Thanks, Derek Carr. That's great. We appreciate it. And you can talk about adding guys that can, one, make your team better, maybe make your organization a little bit better. And I think a guy that comes from such an incredible organization in Green Bay that's played at a very high level is worth a shot. Again, no long-term deals, no 4-year contract, but 1 year, come in, play some ball, teach the young corners that you're now counting on to usher in this new era post-Lattimore, post-Paulson Adebo, usher that era in. Yeah, I'm all for that. If Asante Samuel works out, great. If Jaire Alexander works out, great. Just make the money work out. Don't do anything foolish. And to be clear, like, the Saints really haven't. I didn't love the Juwan Johnson signing, and I was tepid on Justin Reed. But none of it's egregious. And so I don't expect the Saints to do anything egregious here. I think that it just makes sense to see if you can bring them to the table. Your issue is you're not a very attractive destination. I don't know how long that Jaire Alexander has left to play. Corners that are 28 are generally on about their last leg. Does he want to play for a team that's got a better chance to compete for a championship? Probably. But if you outspend that team by $1 million, who's to say that he won't end up in your lap? And you've got that now to play with. It's financial freedom is a heck of a thing. Check that out, Mick. It's a good deal. So we'll see if that's the case. Justin Reed chose to play for the Saints over the Philadelphia Eagles. That's a home type deal, and Jaire Alexander doesn't necessarily have that going. But hey, I think that it makes a lot of sense that potentially you could make that happen over the next couple of weeks should the release of Jaire Alexander come official from Green Bay. Right now, just a report. I'm assuming that that's going to come to fruition. Ian Rappaport, not in the business of making things up, but I think it can make some sense for the Saints to bring him in and see what he can do. And hey, if he plays really well and you feel like there's 2 more years in him and you want to make that addition right there and then lock him up for 2 more years after he plays a healthy season and still shows he can really do it, I'm not opposed to that in any way. I think that could be a solid move for the New Orleans Saints. So we'll see if the Saints decide to do that. Got a little money to spend. There are some veterans out there that you can do it. I think corner is a great spot for the Saints to have. I think they're a little bit thin at that spot, if talented, but a little bit thin there at corner. So if you're looking for Saints coverage, you can find it at LouisianaSports.net. Ross Jackson's got you covered. You can certainly find it over at Hunt on Saints on YouTube or wherever you find your podcast. Hunt on Saints, all Saints all year long. LSU football loses somebody off their staff earlier today. Talk a little bit about that. Plus, LSU got a commitment in the transfer portal for baseball. Give you my thoughts on that as well. Moving right along here on a Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always. No paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net. Powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products.
While LSU was bidding to make the 2025 College World Series, the 2026 team got a little boost in the form of a transfer from Kansas State coming home. Seth Dardar from Kansas State, initially from Mandeville, went to Columbia for 3 years. One of those years he sat out the season, but transferred to Kansas State. Had a really good year for the Wildcats this past season. Hit .326 with 13 home runs. One of those home runs came off of Cade Anderson in Frisco in that tournament when LSU and K-State got together. Had 18 doubles, got on base 43% of the time, played some first base, played some second base, left-handed bat. Jay Johnson loves left-handed hitting infielders. Tanner Reeves is one of those. Stephen Milam can be one of those. And Dardar is a left-handed bat. I think right now you're looking at a guy that probably profiles at first base. Jaire Jones is going to move on. You've lost Ryan Costello. He transferred out, who was kind of waiting in the wings there as potential power-hitting first baseman. But Dardar could be a middle-of-the-order power bat for LSU in 2026, and was certainly that for Kansas State. Could play some second base. I haven't seen enough of him to know if that's a reasonable thing or not, and we'll see what happens. Daniel Dickinson is going to move on, so we'll see what LSU does in the transfer portal moving forward and what this high school class looks like once the draft settles down. But in any event, this is a guy that is going to come in and very much looks like a guy who's going to be in the middle of the order and should hit for some power. LSU has shown an ability to take transfer bats and elevate them. You look at the work that Chris Stanfield has done. He's a significantly better hitter than he was at Auburn last year. Braswell hasn't had a good year this year. He was significantly better last year than he was at South Carolina for sure. So maybe Dardar comes in and a .326 guy with 13 home runs in the Big 12 plays up a little bit in his final year. Maybe he's a .330 hitter with 15, 18 home runs at LSU next year, playing a little bit warmer weather and with his LSU staff teaching him on the offensive side of things. So Jay Johnson said on this show last week that not as busy in the transfer portal this year as he has been in years previous. They're going to be very selective. They like the base of this roster right now moving into next year, and then certainly like the signing class that's coming in. So not going to be extremely aggressive as far as numbers go in the transfer portal, but you got to get the right guys, and he feels like Seth Dardar is one of those guys. So Mandeville native going to come down to LSU from Manhattan, Kansas, and be a left-handed bat in the LSU infield next season. So let's talk a little bit of LSU football now. Some news breaking earlier today. Pete Nakos of On3 reported it initially. LSU is losing a member of its recruiting staff in Jordan Arcement. He's leaving to go join Athletes First, which is a management company that works with players, coaches, broadcasters nationwide to deal with. There's basically an agency. So he's going to jump into the NIL world and help players on that front. It's been an interesting way up for Jordan Arsman, who's a Thibodeau native, played football at Nichols, ended up heading over to work at West Virginia. And not West Virginia, at Virginia. He worked his way up to the director of recruiting communications, came to LSU, and really helped with recruiting, with NIL deals, with relationships with players and getting guys in. He wasn't an on-the-field coach, but he rose up over the course of 3 years and was eventually the director of recruiting communications and external relationships. I can't claim to know exactly what Jordan Arsman did day to day. I can't exactly explain that. I do know that he was front and center in a lot of recruiting situations, especially when it came to building relationships with players. And I don't know this, I think dealing with NIL opportunities for LSU student athletes. That would make a lot of sense if that's exactly what he was doing, because it sounds like you go to be a representative. That's literally all you're doing, is making sure that your clients are compensated fairly and properly and see all the opportunities that they can get. So it's not a guy that was coaching defensive backs on how to backpedal, not a guy who was teaching pass protection to the running backs, a guy that was purely in the department of building the roster, maintaining relationships, generating name, image, and likeness deals, and that's an important thing in this day and age. And I know that the players really like Jordan Arsman. I think that he's going to come on with Matt a little bit later today to kind of explain what this move is for him. I'm not ready to sit here and tell you that this is a devastating blow that the football program can't recover from, but it is a guy that had a big role in LSU's recruiting machine, and they'll have to figure that out. It's kind of a right now an Austin Thomas, Brian Kelly operation at the top level. But Arsman was right there in that intermediary level where he's dealing a lot with the players. Kelly and Austin Thomas very famously have gone to see NFL teams, talked about how to manage the salary cap and how to assign values to each position and what amount of your budget you can spend here, what amount of your budget you can spend here, what you prioritize, what you do not, when to say yes, more importantly probably, when to say no. That's the top of this thing. But you also, with all that comes with the NIL, with all that comes with the money and all that comes with paying players and making sure everybody's happy, you've got to have relationships with the guys. And that's where Jordan Arsman really made a name for himself and really rose up the ranks very quickly here in Baton Rouge, handling that. No idea who may take those reins at this point, but Jordan Arsman kind of moving into the private sector there, and it's going to work with athletes first on the management side of things. We'll see just how badly that affects LSU. My sense, and again, this is my opinion, this is certainly not a fact, in my opinion on the matter, is that this is a bit of a ding to LSU as far as recruiting goes, but something that Brian Kelly can smooth over and put somebody else in that role and continue to move forward. So that's just my thought on the situation with LSU. Jordan Arsman moving on from LSU's football program into the agent world to deal with athletes first. Our Monday show is brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products, GCOPnet.com. All your printing, scanning, copying needs, Gulf Coast Office Products. You can work with the big box store if you want to work with the big box store. They have all the resources in the world, may be able to give you incredible pricing, but give them a phone call, you get a recorded line in Atlanta or San Francisco, can't get anybody on the phone, who's coming out to repair my issues. That's not exactly what you're looking for. You can work with a mom and pop shop, and they'll have great customer service. They'll pick up the phone, they'll know your name, they'll know your dog's name. But do they have the resources to properly do the job? The beautiful thing about Gulf Coast Office Products is they split that right down the middle. They've got all the resources that you need. They've got $1 million worth of inventory right here in Baton Rouge. They're statewide. They've got an incredible staff, especially with technicians that can come out. If you have any issues, they can handle the fix on your machine, maybe get you a new machine if you're up and running. Customer service is going to be phenomenal as well. You're going to have a great relationship with your rep like Trey. That's the beauty of working with Gulf Coast Office Products. For all your printing, scanning, copying needs, do what we do here at Guarantee Media. Work with Gulf Coast Office Products for all of your needs. Check them out online, GCOPnet.com. GCOPnet.com is where you can find them. We're off and running here, Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Hope your work week's off to a good start. We've got one segment left to go. Take a time out, come back, and close things down. Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Huh. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Savor game day platters and snacks, plus drink specials at 1717 Kitchen and Cocktail. So come out for game day and let our team make you the MVP. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products.
Our Rad Dad contest is back and bigger than ever. Roaming Shot Outdoors and Citizens Bank and Trust bring you Dad's favorite gifts ever: a green egg thanks to Goodwood Hardware, a steak pack from Chris Specialty Foods, manly soap from Hawk Soap, and a hunting class for 2 from Roaming Shot Outdoors. It's too late to upload your pictures. That submission ended yesterday, but you can get on our website, 1045ESPN.com, to vote for your Rad Dad from today through Thursday the 12th. Happy Father's Day to all those rad dads out there.
Appreciate that, Beck. Thank you.
I wasn't calling you a rad dad.
Feeling pretty rad.
No.
I just saw this on Twitter that made me laugh. There's a 7'3" center from Italy who's making an official visit. Where do you think he's visiting?
Gonzaga.
Nope. One more guess.
Florida.
Purdue.
Oh. I was not going to guess that.
Somebody captioned it with the Jesse Pinkman. He can't keep getting away with this. Purdue always has just a huge, massive guy in the middle of their team. Not always as good as Zach Edey, but seems like they're going to go shopping for that as well. I want to give a major tip of the cap to the LSU baseball fan base for the weekend. Incredible stuff. It was 1,000 degrees on Saturday. I offered my apology on Friday for saying it was a great game time. I was purely thinking about my arrival at home for a 1 o'clock game, which I did very much enjoy, but I wasn't thinking about the folks that were sitting out in the outfield when it was 100,000 degrees on Saturday at 1 o'clock. But the place was full, and it was loud, and it was awesome, and you deserve a huge hat tip for that. And then the 963rd rain delay of the season that once again put everyone in the box until after midnight last night, and it was full. It was full for the last out. And that's not going to be the case everywhere. And I think sometimes we take a lot of things from baseball for granted. I try not to, but it just is what it is. This is LSU's 20th trip to Omaha in 40 years. Tigers have won 7 national championships. You look at incredible programs like Arkansas that's never won one. Like Florida's got 2. Vanderbilt's got 2. And you're talking about a program that has just been incredible for that long. And so we just get sometimes maybe desensitized to success or something that's exceptional. And for that place to have, 11,000 people in it at 11:40 on a Sunday night was really cool. And the environment was great. The energy was loud. There were a number of West Virginia reporters that made the trip for the Super Regional, whether it was newspaper, local television. And I didn't speak with any of them. I was doing radio, and so was separated yesterday, and my seat was up on the top level. I was chatting with Cobble most of the game. But I overheard some of their discussions, and they were kind of blown away with the size of the facility, with the energy of the crowd and the noise and all that kind of goes into that. And I talked about this on Friday, but I'll reiterate it. Like, I sit in that place when it's empty in the fall a lot. And when I'm doing that, you can visualize what it looks like when it's at its best. And this weekend was phenomenal. I mean, the circumstances weren't perfect. It was 100 degrees on Saturday, and it was midnight on Sunday. It didn't matter. LSU fans just showed up and were just awesome from start to finish, and that's really cool. So we'll see what kind of crowd makes its way up to Omaha for this weekend. I kind of doubt it's going to be quite as big a takeover as it was in 2023. That was the longest layoff LSU had in 30 years. You had crews and schemes that were, felt generational. I hate that term, but I'll use air quotes with it. And it seemed like everybody went to that one. I don't know what this one will look like. I know that every time that LSU goes, there's a subset of fans that don't go that time that say, hey, next time I'm doing it. And there are probably going to be a sizable amount of those that show up in Omaha, but we'll see just how big that takeover is. But it was a great weekend in Baton Rouge for LSU to punch their 20th ticket to Omaha, and now got a chance to go up there and see what you can do with 8 teams left to compete for a national championship. Got one more order of business here. We'll take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Shout out to Flight by Yingling. It's the next generation of light beer. Just 2.6 carbs, 95 calories, brewed by the oldest brewery in America. Yingling's been doing this for 6 generations. That's a lot of beer knowledge. And Flight by Yingling, phenomenal light summer beer, whether you're at the tailgate, whether you're at the lake, whether you're at the pool, whether you're on the golf course. Grab a Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer.
Alrighty, first one here. We talked about it last week a little bit. The Paul Skeens performance with the Pirates and their inability to win during his starts. Yesterday, it continued as the Pirates won. However, it was tied 1-1 after Skeens pitched 7 2/3, giving up 1 unearned run on 2 hits with 7 strikeouts and 1 walk. Of course, like I said, he was pulled with the game tied 1-1. So he got a no decision. So his record still stands at 4-6 with a 1.88 ERA, which is only second to Kodai Senga, who's having an unbelievable season for the Mets. But Skeens will win more than 10 games. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it.
I'll take it.
Pitching like that, you can't help but win a couple. I think he'll win 10. I saw on Instagram last night after the game, Skeens and Libby were out on the boat somewhere. So it didn't seem like he was taking the no decision too hard. Seems like he was enjoying the evening out on the water. And he should probably do that because there's not going to be a lot of wins in the Pittsburgh Pirates. But that 4-6 with a 1 point something is just mind blowing.
Yeah, it's really unbelievable. It's that having a ERA under 2 and having started as many games as he has with 4 wins. Yeah, that's just the Pirates for you. All right, next one here. Jack Cagliona had a little bit of a rough start to his MLB career with the Royals, but he went 4 for 4 on Sunday. The Royals got the win 7-5. Cagliona will bat over 300 this year in the MLB. Take it or leave it.
I will leave that in a hurry.
Leave it
He's
alone.
going to strike out a truckload, and that's okay. They're paying him to hit the ball over the fence, and he's going to do that some as well. He was crushing AAA. He was actually stationed in Omaha at AAA. That's where the Royals AAA affiliate is. But yeah, he's going to hit a ton, but he's going to strike out a ton as well. He will not sniff 300.
All right, last one here. The Stanley Cup Finals have been absolutely electric so far in their first 2 games. Series tied 1-1. The first game went to overtime. Oilers won that one 4-3. The second game went to double overtime. The Panthers won that one 5-4. They play tonight at 7 o'clock. Hunt, you will watch this game. Take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave that. That's going to be a no. I did just get auto locks in, though, from Jimmy, and he's got Edmonton plus 124. So I'm guessing that's the road team if they're an underdog?
Yes, they are.
Okay, yeah, so he's going to take the road dog there for an auto locks. There's a little teaser of what is to come.
You can get, I mean, these games have been incredible. They're going to both games going to overtime. It's a high
What time
scoring.
does it start?
It starts at 7.
So it's how long are hockey games? Like 2.5
hours? 2.5.
I'm not going to be awake at 9:30.
Okay,
no chance.
You can watch the first few periods.
The issue with that is that Myers is awake, and then he's not going to want to watch that. He's going to scream at me if we don't watch
doesn't he have his little tablet anyway? So like you're usually watching something else.
I'll watch on my tablet. So I'm not going to watch the hockey. I hope it's a great game, and if I'm awake, unfortunately, and somebody tweets out that it's overtime, I might flip over to it, but I wouldn't bank on it.
Yeah, all right, that's it for Take It or Leave It.
And I'm going to watch Murray State and Duke as well. You got a winner in that one from Raleigh?
Yeah, how about Matt McMahon's former team? I'll take the Racers.
The Racers hit. They just hit and hit and hit. I don't know if they pitch it great, but they hit a lot. And Duke hits a lot of home runs as well. That ballpark is kind of rinky-dink. The entirety of, like, from home plate to first base is just a berm. They don't have any seats over there. There's just seats on the left side of home plate. Not necessarily the great. It's funny if like Murray State played at Swayze for the regional, which is incredible college environment. Then you go to Duke, which is not necessarily quite the same, but they're hitting all the same. So I think I like the Racers to win that one. That'll be kind of the cherry on top to a unique Omaha field that's got 3 teams from the West Coast. You'll have your one Cinderella there. You got your big brands in LSU and Arkansas on one side. I think that's a nice touch to the field of 8.
So if Murray State wins, and then they will play UCLA, is that correct?
That's correct.
And then if LSU wins, they will play the winner of UCLA and Murray State.
They're going to play
Duke.
either UCLA or Murray State or Duke in the second game, no matter what, win or lose. Just a matter.
Yes.
Is it at 1 o'clock on Monday or is it at 6 o'clock?
So we'll have
on
a little
Monday?
bit. We'll have the Matt McMahon Bowl potentially.
Potentially could. You could have LSU and Murray State, the Matt McMahon Bowl there for maybe a spot in the driver's seat or to keep your season alive.
Yeah.
Either way, we'll see. I really need LSU to win on Saturday so that I don't have to. I mean, my show is going to be worthless on Monday if LSU loses that game. It's a 1 o'clock.
How many
times
has a team lost their first game in Omaha, gone on to win? I want to know what the
doesn't happen very often.
Probably not very often.
Not very often. I do know for sure that A&M and Tennessee both won their first game last year because every single game in Omaha, all of them, went the opposite of the way I would have liked them to go. There was not a single game that the team I would prefer won. It was brutal. So, yeah, they won. LSU got to the championship game out of the losers bracket in 17 and 2023, but they won their first game both of those years. In 17, they beat Florida State, and in 23, they beat Tennessee. So that's the preferred way to get it done is to win that first game, but we'll see. We're talking about a lot of College World Series over the next couple of days. Appreciate Gulf Coast Office Products for bringing you our Monday shows. Missed any of today's show? Catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. A lot of baseball in that first hour, a little football in the second hour. Matt's going to drive you home next on After Further Review. We are back tomorrow, same time, same place. We'll talk to Glenn and Sharif. A lot of baseball on that show. Have a great Monday. See you tomorrow on The Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like